Right, so here is your knife, minus the handle. I don't want to get it all cooked up while I'm doing this fresh cut. It has no edge. It will still cut. I mean, you see it peeling that skin off there? It'll still cut you, but there's no finished edge. And down here oops. Down here it's much duller. Up here it's pretty sharp. To give you an example, let me see here. This is just a piece of catalog paper that I usually use for polishing. Up here, you see that? Now this knife hasn't been sharpened at all. Down here, it still cuts, just not as good. Up here, it's pretty sharp. But we're going to fix that, and we're going to put an actual edge on it. And I'm going to show you how, so that you're able to do your own as well. Anyhow, I have a King 1000 stone here. Normally, I would set the bevel on a diamond plate, either coarse. Usually coarse is good enough on my knives, but that's not necessary on this knife. It's definitely good enough to just start working on. You want to hold the knife like this. Split the spine with your thumb. This is how I set it every time. And your thumb may be bigger, a little smaller than mine. On these knives, the edge angle is not very important. I know that sounds kind of counterintuitive to a lot of what you learn, but they're so thin. I mean, they're so thin behind the edge that there's, all you're basically doing is putting a micro bevel on to begin with. So start like this. Let's get this thing out of the way. And then what I will do is I will put these fingers across here, and we only do trailing strokes. There's no reason to do the whole working back and forth with these knives. They don't require that much work, and all you're going to end up doing, if you're not real comfortable with that kind of work, is you're going to scuff it up, and then you're going to be unhappy because you're going to have big old scuff marks on your pretty knife. Some guys don't care, and that's more than fine. I mean, these things are made to use, not to not to keep pretty and never do anything with. So thumb splitting, that's what sets your edge angle. Okay, and that way, I do it this way because I can repeat it every time on every knife I make, and I never have to worry about it, and it's second nature to me. And again, this thing is going to form a burr in I don't know how many strokes, but it's not going to be very many on each side. So we're here, and then we've got our fingers spread, and we just pull. I like to keep these a little closer to the tip on these because these knives are very thin. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Pay close attention to the tip. Make sure you're lifting here to get that edge bevel cut into the tip. There you go. And check it. Look at your knife. Look at your knife and see what it's doing, and go from there. I'm going to pay attention to what I'm doing with the knife right now so that I'm not losing count of strokes on each side. That was 15, I believe. I probably already messed that up, but 1, 2, 3. I already have a burr. And it's very even across the entire knife. That's going to be close enough. Let me see if I can get this to pick up the burr. See it? Now, what I'll do next, is I'll go ahead and I'll do this side again, much lighter. Turn it into the light so I can see. Yep. Now what we're doing here is we're removing that burr, and I'll just count strokes and keep going down, very, very light. And then we'll flip again. And then back. One more here. I'll just do one more very, very light. And I'm starting to see little bits of the metal coming off onto the stone. You probably can't see that. This camera's not the all end all of videography, but we'll get this side here. You should be able to hear the difference. I think I'm going to go a couple more times because I can see that burr starting to come off a little bit more on these strokes. And what I want to do is I want to watch it fall off. Yeah, this will be the last one. Same thing with the thumb on this side. That's how you position it. Now, I'll put this back in my bucket and grab the 6,000 stone. Now this one, I already flattened it a little bit earlier, so it's ready to go. Kind of dirty, but start back on this side. Same thing. It's 15. And I can see that edge is nice and consistent all the way to the tip. Let me see if I can see the burr here. It's mostly gone. Oh, it's still there. Yep. And for me, that's really kind of the way that it's got to go. You keep watching that burr back and forth, and you never know when it's just going to pull off, piece, and it's slowly disappearing on its own. But there we go. I'm going to show you right here. There's actually a piece of it just hanging off the knife. There it is, right there. You can see that burr just starting to come off all on its own. And you want to just keep getting lighter and lighter with this 6000. Now I'm going to pause this here while I continue on until this burr is gone, and then before I go to the next step, I'll go ahead and restart the video again. Be right back. All right, so I have no visible burr left on this edge. I probably 4 more cycles of 10 to 15 strokes, but I'm going to do 5 more light ones here. On both sides, and that edge, I don't know if you can see it, but it's really clean. Now, just because I can't see a burr doesn't mean there isn't a burr. But all I can do right now is visual. This next part is to remove any burr that's not visible. So there we go. And this is just newsprint, and this is how we'll strop it. Murray Carter does it this way. I have a hard felt block, the Ultra Hard from Dave Martell, in the house, and it works wonderfully. A lot of times, if I just can't quite get the edge how I want it, like this, I'll finish on hard strop, or I have some diamond balsa strops I made in there. And generally, if for some reason I'm failing out here, that just gets the last little bit off. I find that unless I'm struggling out here with this setup, I can't get a better edge. If I get the edge I want here, it's as good as anything I can do with that in there. If I can't quite get it the way I want it in here, then I can go to that felt or the balsa strops and get it to come to the same, at least the same level of what I'm looking for when I'm doing this out here. So let me see here. And it's the same thing. A little bit higher angle, very, very light. 10. And then I'll just do some light ones again. Okay, now let me grab a paper towel here. Dry this knife off real quick, and then I'll show you the results of all of this that I've done here. Okay, so loosely rolled up newsprint. Okay. Yeah. There we go. I got the wrong angle on it here because I'm trying to hold it up underneath the camera. Nope, I still got more work to do. There's still a burr there on the tip. And that's what the purpose of that loose rolled print is to help you tell. I can feel the burr. Anywhere there's a burr left on this edge, it'll catch in the newsprint, and I can see it there and know where to work. Mostly I'm starting here just to get my angle right, and then right here's where I'm paying extra attention. So I'm going, and then right in this area here is where I'm doing the work, because that's where it was catching up at. It feels sharp, but a burr will feel sharp. And I can still feel it there. Just, it feels a little bit different on the strop. Okay. Now, my edges aren't going to be the best in the world. I mean, there's guys that sharpen far, far, far better than I do, but they work really well for everything that I cut at home. And I don't have any problem, you know, as far as that goes. Let me tip this up. Maybe that'll help me get a better angle on this. I don't have any problem cutting anything I need to cut with them as far as that goes. There we go. And try the tip. Yep, not a problem. So you could see the difference with a burr and without a burr on the way that tip. See here? Oop, caught the edge. Just cuts right through. I grab another piece here. And I've been getting water spots on it, and I think that's part of probably what's the problem with the edge or the tip. Yeah, see, as soon as it hits a wet spot, it catches and doesn't want to cut anymore. So, making myself look bad here by not being careful. Yeah, this knife's plenty sharp. So, that's it. I mean, that's all there is to it. And if you look, you see, if I can see how fine the edge is. I mean, there's almost nothing to it. You almost can't see it in the color of the steel. It's just that last little dark spot right on the edge. Here. And that's a glare. It's smaller than that glare. So anyhow, there you go. I'll send this along to you tonight, and then clean this knife up from the water spots that I got all over it, and you'll have a handle on it tomorrow, and it'll be ready to go. So there we are.